And away we go. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome, one and all, to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you are listening anywhere else and you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That's at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com. Fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. And you can find me on Rumble now as well, and that is Coffee Talk 2 on Rumble, the number 2. But if you're watching live on Rumble, I cannot see your comments. I can only see the comments coming in from Restream, or from YouTube on Restream, I should say. Being joined today by Granny Smith, asleep in the chair behind me, and Miss Kitty laying out on the floor, basically because the chair is not available. Granny Smith is using it currently. Otherwise, she'd be up there. And I'll take a moment to say hello to some of the people that have chosen to chime in and greet us thus far in the live portion. I see Tuck is here, Helter, Dragon, Jimmy, Brian, JJ is here, Kimberly and Monkey chose to say hello, and hi to everyone else who has not decided to chime in, and that's okay. It's not a requirement. You don't have to sit in the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner. As we get ready to jump off, and naturally I do read through as many comments as is reasonable for the benefit of those of you who are listening and not able to see. And I'm sure you all saw the thumbnail, shut it all down, shut it all down. And that is what DOGE is doing, Department of Government Efficiency, being spearheaded by Elon Musk, as they dig into these agencies and find a lot of dirt, drain the swamp, if you will. Drain the swamp, if you will. The thing is, many of these agencies have been going on, in many cases, for decades with zero oversight. I often cite, for example, the IRS operates with impunity. Nobody's watching them or what they're doing. They haven't been challenged by the executive branch of the White House since Reagan was president, because he did not like them. He did not like them. And I see Anarchy has joined us, as well as Nature Nerd, who says people are freaking out about tariffs too much. It won't make prices go up as much as everyone is saying. And before the North American Free Trade Deal, there were higher tariffs on Mexico and Canada. That is correct. Also, he did it the last time around and prices were lower. Also, as far as any kind of trade war is concerned, because the automatic rebuttal was, well, we're going to impose tariffs on the United States. Well, and I can't quote exact numbers, but I want to say like 35% of the GDP from Canada and from Mexico come through the United States. But going from the US to Canada or Mexico looks like 1.2 or 1.5%. It's completely negligible. Who has the upper hand then? Well, obviously the United States does. And again, this is something that we used to do when things were easier, when times were easier, when Trump was president last time, tax-wise, and prior to the NAFTA agreement that Clinton saw so fit to grace us with, along with a lot of other bad ideas. Every president rejected that until Clinton. Oh yeah, I'll sign that, sure thing. Yeah, thanks, Clinton. Thanks for that. And it's worked against the United States. It's made things really bad. But again, a lot of things need to be dismantled, at least for the purpose of examining them. At least for the purpose of examining them, because they've been operating with complete impunity. No one is questioning these departments. There's no oversight in many instances. Looking a little choppy there. I think the video is looking a little choppy, and that's just Restream choking on the transfer here as I open up the first article. Nature Nerd says Trump will bring back the timber and lumber industry from Canada and the avocado industry from Mexico and cartel control. Yeah, and you know, I had seen a post, and it makes a lot of sense as far as imposing sanctions from Mexico. I can do without avocados and shitty liquor for a few months. Yeah, I sure can. Nobody cares that much. Oh God, I can't get guacamole. My life's gonna end. I don't think so. First article here from Time Magazine, and that cuts into what's going on with U.S. aid. U.S. aid. It says it's beyond repair, and that's Musk talking. Elon Musk says Trump has agreed to shut down U.S. aid. And for those of you who don't know what this department of government is, because most people have never heard of U.S. aid, they are the ones who send trillions of your tax dollars to programs all across the globe for everything you can possibly imagine. We pay for everything. It's insane. And Musk just started digging into it and found that it's a disaster. It's a disaster. It really looks like a huge money laundering operation. Here we go. U.S. Agency for International Development is on the cusp of being shuttered. And by the way, an email has gone out from USAID. This is an update that probably isn't in here, telling the employees not to bother to come into work today. Stay home right now. According to the Trump administration's advisor and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who has been wrestling for control of the agency in recent days, early Monday, Musk held a live session on X Spaces, previously known as Twitter Spaces. Okay, we all know that by now. And said that he spoke in detail about U.S. aid with the president, and he agreed it should be shut down. Quote, again, it became very apparent that it is not an apple with the worm in it, Musk says. What we have is just a ball of worms. You've got to basically get rid of the whole thing. It is beyond repair, so we're shutting it down. His comments come after the administration placed two top security chiefs at USAID on leave after they refused to turn over classified restricted areas to Musk's government inspection teams, a current and former U.S. official told the Associated Press on Sunday. Gee, I wonder why they're refusing executive office inspectors access to their files. And there's Peter joining us from New Zealand. Glad you could make it. And he reminds us USAID was involved with the Ukraine in 2014. Yeah, I bet. And I'm going to look for the article because it's come to light now that evidently the Ukrainian government has been selling the bulk of the actual tangible goods that have been getting sent there by the United States, i.e., small arms and munitions. Apparently, they've been selling it on the black market, using it to, and apparently to the tune of about 50% of what they've been receiving. And much of it has ended up in the hands of South and Central American cartels. So it's turned into a huge mess. Tuck says can't get tasteless cheeses or unripened avocado. Oh no, I know it. Or the avocado that's been sprayed with that crap that was invented by Bill Gates that turns it into like a rubber ball that's supposed to keep it fresh longer. And Bernab is here. He says guacamole is the backbone of our economy. Is it? Nature Nerd says before NAFTA, the U.S. had a 200% tariff on Mexican avocados. After NAFTA, Americans lost 90% of the avocado industry to Mexico. And there it is. Back to the article. It says members of Musk's Department of Government Efficiency eventually did gain access Saturday to the aid agency's classified information, which includes intelligence reports. Musk's Doge crew lacked high enough security clearance to action, so the two U.S. aid security officials, Voorhees, not Michael Voorhees, John Voorhees, and Deputy Brian McGill, Jason Voorhees, excuse me, I mixed up my slashers, believed themselves legally obligated to deny access. Sure, they did. The current and former U.S. officials had knowledge of the incident and spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to share information. Musk on Sunday posted to an X post about the news by saying USAID is a criminal organization and time for it to die. He followed with additional posts on X about aid. Incredible. It's Kate Miller's on the advisory board for Doge said in a separate post, no classified material was accessed without proper security clearance. Just to clarify, Musk formed Doge. We know why they formed Doge. I don't need to read that. It comes a day after Doge carried out, hold still, a similar operation at the Treasury Department, gaining access to sensitive information, including Social Security and Medicare customer payment systems. The Washington Post reported a senior Treasury official had resigned over Musk's team accessing sensitive information, trying to get out while the getting's good, I guess. He wanted to try to get out ahead of it. It'll follow him. He can run if he wants to. Quote, it's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics and we're getting them out, according to Trump. The Trump administration and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have imposed an unprecedented freeze on foreign assistance that has shut down much of USAID's humanitarian development and security programs worldwide, compelling thousands of layoffs by aid organizations and ordered furloughs and leaves that have gutted the agency's leadership and staff in Washington. Too freaking bad. The U.S. is by far the world's largest donor of humanitarian aid. And I say that tongue in cheek because I'm willing to bet most of it's not really humanitarian. I bet a lot of it is for printing pride flags and just garbage. With USAID administering billions of dollars in humanitarian development and security assistance in more than 100 countries. More than 100 countries. Bernab says all we need is a steak and a potato. There you go. And D-Lo's here. Glad you could make it. Oh, Peter says the same thing. Replace your avocado with a steak. Yeah. You don't need that avocado. Avocados from Mexico. Not anymore. The avocado market has become so huge for Mexico that their farms have armed guards. Military-style armed guards, not Mickey Mouse cops. So yeah, go ahead and shut you. We throw all this money all over the globe, and I don't know what kind of aid they're talking about. I mean, they act like people are walking around with like Meals on Wheels in other countries. Here you go, little kid who hasn't eaten in a week. Here's a little food package. Here's an MRE. That's not what it is. Some of the stuff they give away is insane. When you read what it is on a lot of this stuff, and I'm sure a list will be coming out here, it'll shock you, like that whole $50 million worth of condoms going to Gaza so that they can do what? Make more IEDs. Nature Nerd says Marco Rubio did a good job in Panama, stopping the Belt and Road Initiative. And closer to the U.S., joint control and funding may be a better deal for U.S. ships, perhaps. And Peter says USAID sent millions, if not billions, to the Clinton Foundation, and we all know what they did. Again, Haiti, I don't know if that lawsuit is still open, but Haiti is still looking for that $5 billion that they were supposed to get for the tsunami relief. Was it a tsunami or was it an earthquake? I know a tsunami was in there somewhere. Bernab says the amount of waste that has been uncovered will give us millions and millions back to better use. And Tuck suggests it's bribery and money laundering. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. That's what it really looks like. That's what it really looks like. And while everybody is so concerned about tariffs, we'll jump to Mexico right now. This is a Washington Post article. And this is what it looks like when you've got a president in power who's not a pushover. Okay? Who doesn't make us look weak. Doesn't make us look weak. Trump halts the tariffs on Mexico as it rushes to move more troops, or as it rushes to move more troops to the border. This is really interesting. There has been a temporary hold. Peter reminds me it's an earthquake. Thank you. I forget. He gave a 30-day suspension to the tariffs on Mexico in a part of a deal that he's working out with the Mexican president. This never would have happened on Biden's watch. Never. In a dramatic last-minute move, the Trump administration agreed Monday, that's this morning, to pause sweeping tariffs on Mexico for a month while the two sides hammer out an arrangement on security and trade. And this is coming from the Mexican president. Okay, President Claudia Sheinbaum said on X that she had a good conversation with President Trump, and that Mexico has now committed to sending 10,000 troops to the border to block the flow of drugs into the United States, as well as, you can imagine, illegal border crossings. So now all of a sudden Mexico wants to enforce its border policies. They want to send troops to the border to keep people from coming in and, of course, illicit drugs from coming into the United States. Funny how that works. They weren't interested in that when Biden was in office. The United States pledged to work to avoid illegal trafficking of weapons into Mexico. She says that Trump confirmed this, and Trump has confirmed this agreement, saying in a post on his Truth Social platform, the deployment of Mexican troops will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. The deal came 2 days after Trump announced 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada, saying they have failed to stop the movement of illegal fentanyl and migrants over the border. The tariffs were set to go into effect Tuesday. The tariffs had threatened to blow up one of the world's most important trade accords, raises prices in the United States, and push Mexico into a recession. It won't raise prices here. Roughly 1.5 million in goods cross the two nations' border every minute. But coming in, not going out. That's why it won't hurt us if they give us tariffs. So who cares? If they give us tariffs on goods going into Mexico, they don't buy nothing from us yet anyways. Nature Nerd says Canada's threat on Florida orange juice boycotts were pretty sad. Yeah, okay, don't get orange. Can't get orange juice to go with our bacon, eh? Hosers. JJ says while Mexico is the largest exporter of avocados, they're not the only one. Peru is the third largest and might choose to take Mexico's place as a supplier. That's a good point. I'm sure you know how Trump is a businessman. He'll negotiate. And these other countries are falling in line. Venezuela says they'll even take the Tren gang members back. They'll take back anybody Trump sends them now. That came down the pipe this morning. Suddenly, everybody wants to cooperate. Why? Because our leadership does not look weak. It does not look weak. And Monkey says Trump's supposed to talk to Trudeau in about sometime in the next 45 minutes or so. And we'll see how that goes. Trudeau is weak also. When he's not stomping on his own people, he's weak. Yeah, even though he took off his UN hat and put on a Canada hat to pretend like he gives a shit about Canada. I can't tell because he's really pounded the crap out of it for the last 10 years and taxed them to death. And I'd love to know where all that money's going, because it's certainly not going into the Canadian people or its infrastructure. They're probably paying 80% more taxes than the government needs to function. Where's it going? Where's it going? And Peter suggests Mexico exports 81% versus US 5%. US 5%. And Nature Nerd says he's worried about the cartel wars. The gangs are going to start fighting our troops and use drones as weapons. And as I just alluded to earlier, apparently a lot of that equipment was purchased through the black market from the Ukraine. It's our own equipment. It's our own equipment. It's being exposed now that the Ukraine has sold more of roughly half of, if not more than half of, the physical, tangible equipment that the United States has been sending them for the last couple of years. So what the hell are we sending them anything for if they're going to turn around and sell it, and then it's going to end up getting used against us and our southern neighbors? That's where you cut it off. Trump says he'll see what he can do about stopping weapons being sent south of the border because of all the trouble they have with cartels down there. They're not coming across the border. They're coming across the ocean, apparently, from the Ukraine. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Sheinbaum told reporters she had reached out to the U.S. president Friday, but they were only able to speak this morning. During the call, which was about 45 minutes long, she proposed suspending tariffs while the two sides worked out an agreement on security and trade. Trump asked how long she wanted to hold off the tariffs. Sheinbaum said, "Let's pause them forever," and laughed. It was a joke. When he repeated the question, she agreed to a month-long delay and says, "I'm sure in a month we can provide results." That's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. And Armored Ghost said that's money grabs. And Tuck says, "My understanding is Trudeau specifically mentioned Florida oranges, which is only a portion of the oranges grown in the U.S. If true, he's trying to knock Floridians for supporting DeSantis." That's possible. JJ said, "What a difference in leadership. Trump negotiates. Biden would have just sniffed President Sheinbaum's hair." Yeah, he would have knuckled under to whatever they want just to not have to deal with it. But you got somebody who appears to move with authority, who appears to be powerful, who looks like he's not going to take any crap, then you'll get some negotiations done. The thing is, and a lot of people are crying about it, and oh God, it's a dictatorship. And let me explain something here really quick. And a lot of people aren't going to like it, but it's just the truth. I don't care what form of government you have, it's a dictatorship. If all it takes to ruin your life, to take everything from you, including your very life, is the right signature on a piece of paper, you're in a dictatorship. I don't care what kind of government it is. Okay? It could be a benevolent dictatorship or a tyrannical one. And quite frankly, the things that Trump are doing are actually, at least for now, for the benefit of the people in the United States. So take it while you can. Suck it up, because it's been a really rough ride the last 4 years, and it's not because of Trump. The and Nature Nerd says the media hysteria helps Trump's negotiations. Well, the media looks ridiculous right now too. It looks ridiculous. Oh, and while we're on, yeah, let me catch this from Raccoon. Raccoon says, "It's so annoying when I hear people say he's a dictator. I hear it every day at work by all the sheeple." Yeah, and Biden wasn't. Biden made more changes in the first couple of weeks in office than any president in history, including the current administration. More rapid changes, and many of them turned out to be quite destructive. Quite destructive. They hurt us all. And the people that complain about this are the people that are not affected by it. People that have never worked a day in their life, high school and college kids, that mama is still taking care of them. They think everybody's supposed to take care of them their whole life. Or celebrities, or somebody who, no matter what laws are made or what changes are made, it doesn't affect them anyway because they can afford to skirt around it. But Armored says decades will happen in the coming weeks. Well, he's walking things back going all the way back to the 1960s. It looks like, because he's changing things that Lyndon B. Johnson had put into effect that have caused us problems. And I'm going to jump to a USA Today article. Here's Trudeau's answer to things. Well, not necessarily Trudeau, but Canada. American alcohol is pulled from the shelves in some Canadian provinces amid Trump's tariffs. Oh no! American booze is taken off the shelves. How much American liquor do you actually think is in Canada, first of all? Secondly, this reminds me of and you might remember, it was almost a couple of years ago, right? Reading articles about when the war between Ukraine and Russia first started. People were dumping vodka. And I showed the articles because I was like, now pay close attention. That vodka that dude is dumping out is actually manufactured in the United States. Do you not know where your vodka comes from? Every bottle of vodka in the country did not come from Russia specifically, okay? You're going to take American vodka off or American liquor off the shelves? Dude, you already paid for it. It's already paid for. Okay, I can understand saying, well, I'm not going to buy any American liquor for now. Okay, fine. But you're going to take stuff off the shelves you already paid for. Dude, did you not understand how this works? Understand how this works? Oh my goodness. Multiple Canadian provinces have announced they are pulling American alcohol from the store shelves in response to tariffs rolled out by President Trump. Leaders in Ontario, Manitoba, and Nova Scotia ordered distributors to stop selling American alcohol products as the country deals with Trump's 25% tariff on Canadian goods, which hopes will decrease the amount of fentanyl in migrants coming into the U.S. Okay, we've established that. On Sunday, Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew announced the province will no longer sell American booze starting Tuesday, February 4th. What a brilliant man. Yeah, that's going to work out so well. Sell what's already on the shelves and don't buy any more. That's how you do it. Do they not understand how this works? Do they not? I could talk to a junior high school class and get them to understand this. Kimberly says there's no method to their madness. And Armand says we'll sell booze to Green, use the money to buy Greenland. There you go. All People says Canada's trying to Bud Light the U.S., but Canada has less production than does the U.S., and it is more of a service economy than even India. Raccoon said a while back after the Ukraine invasion, I went to a steakhouse chain and asked for Russian dressing, and they said they won't serve it. Is that true? Oh my God. Yeah, Russian dressing must be also bottled in Russia and imported. Wow. Peter said Canadian prepper's losing his mind. Is he? Watched a video from him in probably a couple of years. JJ said stupid is as stupid does. There you go. And Armand said Russian vodka stopped being sold in the U.S. shortly after the conflict started. Correct. But they were dumping it and they were taking it off the shelves. And I'm like, yeah, if it's already on the shelves, if you already have it, you already paid for it, you may as well sell it. Taking it off the shelves or disposing of it, it's not helping anything. It's not changing anything. What difference does it make? It makes no difference. I remember way back during the conflict with Russia and Afghanistan, before the end of the Cold War, they were protesting and they were pouring. I saw on the nightly news there were people with cases of vodka and they were pouring it down in the rain gutters in front of liquor stores and stuff. And I'm like, first of all, that's contaminating the gutter. Second of all, and remember, I was in junior high school. Didn't you already pay for that? How does that work? And Bernard says, bless their hearts, that's Canadian leadership at its finest. That's why Canada's in so much trouble. That's why Canada's hurting so bad right now. Exactly. Exactly. What a stupid thing for for politicians to do. And the fact that they could even enforce that on those providences. Again, I don't care what kind of government you're under, it is a dictatorship. It is a dictatorship. Unfortunately, in Canada, it's not a benevolent one right now. And speaking of really, really stupid things that politicians do for attention, oh man, you'll love this. We're going to jump to New Jersey. We're gonna jump to Jersey, and we're gonna see the New Jersey governor. Fox News article: New Jersey's governor houses migrant at his house and tells the feds good luck trying to get her. Oh yeah, this guy's so full of shit. I'm just gonna call it. I don't believe him, but I'm gonna read the article here really quickly. I think this is a publicity stunt. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy revealed he is housing an immigrant at his home and dared the Trump administration to do something about it. Murphy made the admission during an interview this past weekend with Blue Wave New Jersey, a progressive grassroots organization. Tammy Murphy and we was talking about, I don't want to get into too much as details, but there is someone's in our brothers universe whose immigration status is not yet at the points that they is trying to get it to. And we said, you knows what? Let's have her lives at our house above the garage. And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her, Murphy added, seemingly hinting that the person may be an illegal immigrant. Fox News Digital reached out to Murphy's office for more information, but they did not immediately respond. He says that he said, hey, we'll take some random unknown person who might be or might not be an immigrant and put them above our garage, willing to bet nobody's there, that there is no such person, that if there is an actual quote immigrant, that they probably work in the governor's house anyways, and that they probably have a green card, that they're not technically illegal. This is a lot of posturing. This is a lot of posturing for nothing. JJ says pouring vodka in the sewer, man, the sewer rats must have been hammered. And JD says, does his wife know what he's doing with the undocumented? Yeah. Yeah, hey, sweetheart, I'm just going to go upstairs and just check in on our immigrants and just make sure that she's okay. Bada bing, bada boom. Know what I mean? Raccoon says I sound more like a Philly accent. I don't know. Hey, yous guys. I's got me an immigrants in my house. Nature Nerd suggests Quebec needs to become independent from Canada. Yeah, just slice it back up into the original colonies. This guy, I don't believe anybody's really there. And again, if they do have someone there, I'm willing to bet that they are not actually illegal. Look at this guy looking like he's at the Grammys. What a hoser. I'm willing to bet they're not an illegal immigrant, that they probably live above his garage anyways. They probably clean his kitchen, prepare meals for the family, vacuum the hallways, something like that. Probably paying her less than she's worth. I have chosen to take. It's the hypocrisy of it. Oh, I'm going to set an example by allowing an immigrant to live above my garage as a gesture of how humble I am. I dare you, Donald Trump. Send your ICE agents to my home. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. Nature Nerd said if Canada cared about their people, they wouldn't tax their people 50%, but cry about tariffs. And they don't need that much money. That's what I was arguing about earlier. You were here. Where's all that money going? Where is it going? You don't see it being represented by Canada. I mean, is Trudeau like actually part of the Legion of Doom? And he's like Dr. Evil, and he has an army of cyborgs somewhere that he needs to fund. I mean, what the hell? JJ says keeping her above the garage might end up with some shenanigans, like down and out in Beverly Hills. Excuse me. He's trying to pull a Governor Schwarzenegger. That's what's going on. Pardon me. Yeah, Governor Schwarzenegger. I have to admit, I've got an extra child. He is 15 years old. Yeah, she knew about that. She knew about that. Bernard says harboring a criminal. That's every time City Council gets together. Any Democratic-run city, it seems that way. And JD says, isn't harboring an illegal a federal crime? Yes. But again, I'm willing to bet they'll go through all that rigmarole. If anyone does show up there, if there is actually an immigrant, because he doesn't say there really is. He says he doesn't say there really actually is. I don't listen to the quote again, and I'll read it without the goofy accent. I don't want to get into too much detail, but there is someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what? Let's have her live at our house above our garage. He does not say anyone's there. He does not say, he says immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. Does not define what that means. That's a very broad statement. That's why I said this could be someone with a green card, someone with a work permit, someone with a student visa who's legally here, who is an immigrant, that perhaps they have not obtained their citizenship yet. And that could be, quote, they are trying to get it to status. And he doesn't say she's really there. Doesn't really say she's illegal. Doesn't really say anything. You don't know if the person even exists for that point. You don't even know if the person is real or he's just making it up. Quote, and good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her. Why? Because no one's there? Or because if they show up, she'll turn out to be legal? And then you can try to spin that. Oh, they're grabbing people that even have legal status, which has happened once. There was a story last week about a guy who got picked up that had legal status. He had paperwork to legally work in the United States, and they blew it up in the news for a couple of days. But then it was revealed they let him go. I don't think he was there the day. They picked him up because he was in the company of others. Birds of a feather and all that. You know how it is. Picked him up. He was able to demonstrate, hey, I can legally be here. And they said, okay, dude. And they cut him loose. Media didn't make it sound that way. But could that be for spin? And JD says we've seen Born in East LA. Oh, you're going way back on that. Cheech Martin, correct? Cheech Martin film. And he sang the theme song and he had a music video at the time. Yes. Incredible. So I think this guy is full of crap. And all people says New Jersey's Governor Murphy, the vague crusader. Yeah, there you go. Somebody should do that. Have him like tearing open his jacket like he's Superman and he has a big V on his shirt. I'm the vague crusader. I'll kind of explain what I may or may not be doing that may or may not be illegal, that is or is not helping anyone. I mean, he kind of sounds like Pinocchio in, what was it, Shrek 3? I may or may not know where he is or is not, depending upon. Yeah. And nobody could understand what the hell he was talking about. Incredible. Incredible. Point here about deportation. And this is a Soy Nomada article. Soy Nomada. ICE deportations are using C-17 military planes that cost 5 times more than first-class commercial flights. Oh, well. Oh, well. And Peter reminds us, he says he wasn't picked up, he was just detained like you're at a traffic stop. There you go. And Brian is here. He says, what's happening? Yeah. Kimberly says, was it Mexican American by Cheech? That's a different song. That's a different song. He had one called Born in East LA. I believe that's the title. But they're trying to sound like it's a bad thing, because it goes on to say deportations on military flights implemented by the U.S. government under Trump's administration have sparked controversy due to their high cost, which can be up to 5 times the price of a first-class ticket on a commercial airline. A study revealed transporting a migrant on a military plane can cost $4,675, while a commercial flight on an American Airlines from El Paso to Guatemala is $853. Despite the existence of cheaper options, the strategy of using military transport aircraft continues, significantly increasing deportation expense. Now you want to complain about the expense. You didn't want to complain about the expense of what it costs to deal with these people when we were paying for their food, clothing, medicine, schooling, housing, and everything else. You didn't want to complain then. But now that we're deporting them, instead of taking care of them and babysitting them, oh, now it's expensive because they're using the military flights. Well, what's cheaper? Let's break this down. What's cheaper? Waiting, having them hemmed up in detention centers for weeks, waiting for available flights, or throwing them onto a military flight and getting rid of them right away? In the long run, it's cheaper, even if it costs more for the military flight. Otherwise, they'll be waiting around. There's only so many flights going to Guatemala, for example. There's only so many American Airlines can handle. There's only so many. And so you'll have to wait. We got to keep them somewhere and pay for them. Hasdrubal says, been here since the start, but was out walking the dog. YouTube wouldn't let me comment. Oh, give me a break. All people says is the high cost of the deportation planes, the result of having to have soldiers on the planes. That is possible, because you have to round in the entire expense, and you can't see armed guards on those planes. You can see them standing there. But in the long run, it's cheaper to deport them than it is to support them, and cheaper to get them out of the country rapidly on a C-17 than have them waiting around for days or even weeks for available flights through normal channels. Plus, then you don't know who some of these people are. Some of these people, the first rounds of people that they're deporting are known criminals. They're special interest aliens. They're people who are wanted, many of them in other countries, for various crimes, including murder. And you want to put them on commercial flights? Unattended. the best option. I'm sorry. I know it costs more, but that's okay. But again, the hypocrisy of the media complaining about that now, after the immeasurable expense that has already cost the U.S. taxpayer for the last 4 years. Now you want to say it costs too much. Oh, the plane rides are expensive. Yeah, okay, great idea. There's a reason it's been done this way. Maybe later on, when they've weeded out the more dangerous ones, they can go to commercial flights and it'll be cheaper. But safety wise, cost wise, even as I pointed out, there's only so many flights that are going out, and you're going to have to pay for room and board for them, days, maybe even weeks, waiting for flights. Incredible. And now you want to complain. Now you want to complain. And Nature Nerd says Obama and Clinton deported over 2 million illegal immigrants in their presidencies, and no media freak out until Trump deports less people than both those presidents. Just because they don't like Trump, or they've been told not to, or they've been told to act like they don't. And Puck says he's not buying it. C-17s are expensive to fly, though. I can imagine. I can imagine. However, according to educational groups, parents are thrilled. Fox News article, new sheriff in town, parents overjoyed with Trump's DEI crackdown. Parents are, quote, overjoyed with the trajectory of the education system under President Trump after years of pushing back on so-called woke practices in schools, a parents' rights education group has told Fox News. During his first 2 weeks in office, Trump signed several education-related executive orders on school funding and anti-Semitism, and launched a federal review of diversity, equity, and inclusion practices in federally funded institutions. Additionally, the Trump administration launched an investigation into a Colorado school district for allegedly discriminating against female students after girls' restrooms were converted into all gender facilities while the boys' restrooms remained for males only. Ooh, must be nice. Nicole Neely, the founder and president of Parents Defending Education, told Fox News Digital in an exclusive interview that the investigation will open the floodgates of the Trump administration's expected crackdown on similar policies in schools across the country. I think it's what it's intended to do, to send a signal to families that obviously there's a new sheriff in town. There is a priority this administration and the executive orders have made clear, actually views the difference in the sexes to be significant, according to Nelly. And apparently, a lot of parents are happy about this, but we've seen this. I mean, we've looked at some town hall meetings and we've read some of the articles, and most parents in most schools have been outraged about all of this for years, and they are ignored at school meetings, parent-teacher conferences, and such. They go up before the board, and the board ignores them. And you all remember the story that I read last year about the one school district. I want to say it was Maryland. I don't remember. That they had their LGB studies that they were going to be doing, and that something like 96-97% of the parents had signed the form to opt their kids out of the program, and the school board took a vote to rescind parents' rights to opt children out of classes. You've just had the majority, a whopping majority of your parents tell you we don't want this, and you took away their rights. You took away their rights to force it on them. This is what most parents want. They're sick of it. The public schools are already a disaster. And again, I'm not an advocate for public schools by any means. If you've got your kid in public school, I encourage you to find another way, because it hasn't. It's been a long time. It hasn't been good for a long, long time. Even when I was in school in the '80s, it was a disaster. It's, which is also part of the reason why Department of Education is getting walked back, because the Department of Education has caused more problems ultimately than it has solved. Another brilliant piece of Jimmy Carter's legacy: Department of Education, FEMA, and relinquishing control of the Panama Canal. Thanks, Carter. That all worked out really well. And JJ says, or worse, parents getting labeled as domestic terrorists, which has been happening. They had been getting labeled as domestic terrorists for speaking out at town hall meetings, and where they would get arrested by the sheriff and then saddled with that. And Nature Nerd reminds us most of these criminals can't go on normal flights. Exactly another reason why they're using military aircraft. And here's the article about what was alluded to in the previous article. New York Post: U.S. Education Agency investigating Denver schools after girls' restroom is converted into all-gender bathroom. So U.S. Education Department said Tuesday it was investigating Denver public schools for alleged discrimination after the district converted a girls' restroom on the second floor of a high school into an all-gender restroom while leaving another bathroom exclusive to boys. So which is it? If you're going to go through all that, you may as well either make the bathrooms co-ed, or which means that you'd have to have individual access to each restroom like in a restaurant, or have like a million different bathrooms, because some of the stuff that people are coming up with I thought a cat just walked under me. Some of the stuff that gender related that people are coming up with makes no sense. I saw one the other day where people are saying there's gender seasonal now, where it changes spring, summer, fall, and winter, and you go through some sort of weird transition. And I'm like, that doesn't make any damn sense. Doesn't make any damn sense. Puck says, remember, Obama was importing thousands of unjabbed illegals from Central America and scattering them across the country, and suddenly we had disease outbreaks like EVD-68, and the CDC was baffled. I bet they were. But I just opened this to confirm about that, and that they're under investigation. See, look at this, all-gender restroom. And they don't need to do that either, because when you go to a restaurant or a hotel, they have the quote family bathroom, and it's usually like a man or a woman can go in there if they have to change a baby, for example. And it's usually a larger bathroom, and it has a sign like that, but it doesn't say all gender. This is just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, in the realm of the ridiculous, we're going to go to Detroit. You may have seen this. You may have seen this article. But we're going to take a trip to Detroit. Maybe, if Restream can handle it, because it's getting choppy again. Hopefully my audio is still good. If I look choppy for a few seconds, that's okay. It's more important that you can hear, I think. And I just like to open the article up so that people can see that I'm not just making things up as I go. Okay? So, Detroit rapper, and this is the Detroit News, alleges that Lyft driver denied her a ride based on her weight. Have you seen this article? Okay, Detroit-based rapper has filed a civil suit against rideshare company Lyft, saying a driver refused her service because of her weight. In a complaint filed Monday in Wayne County Circuit Court, Dejua Blanding, who is known professionally as Dank DeMoss, I have no idea who this person is. Not that it matters. Said that on January 18th, she had paid Lyft for a ride from her home in Detroit to a football watch party at her cousin's house. And because January 18th, was the date of the Detroit Lions playoffs in Washington against the Washington Commanders. Who cares? When the Lyft driver, who is not identified by name in the complaint, arrived at her home 10 to 15 minutes later in a Mercedes-Benz sedan, but refused to let Blanding, is it Blanding or Blanding? I don't know. Instead, locking the doors and driving away. Blanding alleges she asked the driver what he was doing, and he told her she was too big to get in the car and that he didn't think it was capable of supporting her weight. So he made a snap decision about her getting into the car because of her physical appearance. Okay. I don't know if this picture will expand. That's her. Now, I will tell you, and Raccoon says there's memes with this girl already. Cruising says, to be fair, the bathrooms would be way better to have public sink area with changing stations and actually private stalls with real doors and walls that go all the way down. And Cruising says, when I was driving, I had 3 women in that size in my town car. Not only weird, not being the fattest person in the car, but the air suspension system never stopped running, trying to hold them up. And JJ says, I mean, I can see why she probably exceeded the vehicle's limit. And Puck says, Hodge twins had a funny video about this. Okay, now you can see her pictured here. I'm guessing, based on the image with these 2 attorneys that she's standing here with, she's probably in about the 5'3" to 5'5" height range. I will also tell you, she is 500 pounds. She claims in the lawsuit at the time she was over 500. So roughly 500 pounds. Oh, the Lyft driver, by the way, was Dr. No. Let's see if anybody gets that. So the fact that she's so short, it's even worse as far as her BMI, her body mass index, is concerned. This is a absolute complete attempt at getting attention. I don't know who the hell this woman is. I don't listen to modern music anyways. I have no clue who this woman is. But neither did I know who Rihanna was before she got her ass kicked. When Drake beat up Rihanna, that's when everybody knew who she was. This is a way for her to get into the media. This is a way for her to get press and to get notice. And Puck says that Wilford Brimley says, watch out for diabetes. That's right. Diabetes. She's only 36, I believe. 36 years old. She can't last much longer at that. This is what you call morbidly obese. And the reason that the lawsuit is frivolous is because physical size is not a protected class from a legal standpoint. I'm amazed an attorney would even take this case. Now, if she had sat there and said, he told me not to get in his car because he doesn't like women, and she was able to prove that, Lyft would have a problem. Something like that. Because that would fall under the confines of a supposed protected class from a legal standpoint. But that's not what's happening here. Her size, her physical size, her girth, her obesity, her morbid obesity, is not a protected class. Therefore, I mean, if this gets to court, it's going to get tossed. Nobody's going to consider this. And she's got some photos out there with her dressed pretty skimpy. I won't kill you by showing you that. Puck says gain attention because of her music, because it sucks. Gain attention, a little Freudian slip there, a little pun maybe. She's gaining attention. She needs to gain attention because she can't gain much more weight. This is the same reason why if you go to a carnival or something like that, if you went to an amusement park and they say, "No, lady, you're not getting on this ride," there's nothing she can do. If she went to the airport and she had not prearranged for accommodations, called up and said, "Listen, I'm pretty big. I'm going to need 2 seats." They can turn her away legally. You didn't contact us first. No, we can't help you. Nothing we can do for you. You can't. That's not considered discrimination under the law. But I just thought that's fascinating that this is even a thing. That this is even a thing. Cruising says being 6 foot and taller should be a protected class, so we can start suing airplane companies over the cattle car treatment. Yeah, I know the feeling because I'm just a hair over 6 myself. But with that, we'll go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Coffee Talk and Prepper University on YouTube. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com. And you can find me on Rumble on Coffee Talk 2, and that's the number 2. Trying Rumble, I'm trying. There's nobody there, though. Rumble is a ghost town. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation, and we will catch you again tomorrow.